What's going on, everyone? Pixels here, and we have a new developer update for Dead by Daylight, which is coming in the PTB next week. And this is all focused on the anti-slugging and camping stuff that they are going to be introducing into the game as a quality of life change. The 9.2.0 update arrives next week, so let's check out the notable gameplay changes that you can expect from this public test build. Plus, stay tuned for next week's PTB patch notes, where we'll share more precise values that are changing for each of the topics below as well. So, new features. Slugging reduction update, major update. If a survivor is left in the dying state for a total of 90 seconds during a match, they gain the ability to pick themselves up after fully recovering. Basically a free Unbreakable. Added, well, of course you won't have the same amount of speed as Unbreakable, so that'll still work to increase your speed, but you do get the free. I do wonder how they're going to change Unbreakable for that, since you're going to be able to pick yourself up in anyways. But it is a total of 90 seconds as well, so you're going to have to wait like a minute and a half on the floor before you can pick yourself up for free. Added the option to enable or disable this mechanic in custom games as well. Note, perks that enable you to recover from the dying state, like Boon Exponential, will continue to function as before without needing to meet this requirement. Gradually increases crawling speed for survivors who are left in the dying state. Added the ability for survivors to recover while crawling. Recovery now occurs passively with no need to hold down the button. So you'll automatically start recovering, as you see in the little gameplay here. Bit like Tenacity, really, but you don't have to hold the button down for that. And yeah, I don't know what's going to happen to Tenacity now. So they basically have a free Tenacity there, unless Tenacity is just going to increase your crawling speed, and that's it. And yeah. They updated several survivor and killer perks to account for these changes, so we'll read on. Hopefully they have made adjustments for those. The passive recovery while crawling looks kind of nice as well, to be honest. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think this is going to be too strong. It's definitely going to maybe bring DS back into play, because killers are going to be not as slugging as much if they're going to be thinking, oh, you know, they might have DS in there, but we'll see what happens. The dev note for that is, when it comes to slugging, we know it can be frustrating if you're on the receiving end of it too often and far too long, but we also know that sometimes it's the smart move. This updated system acknowledges this, allowing the killers to slug occasionally when they feel like it's the right call, but will eventually kick in and swing in the survivor's favor. In the survivor's favor if slugging is used excessively. A big part of this is also about making the experience of being slugged more pleasant, as much as being slugged can be, at least. The recovery changes and crawling speed will give you a bit more agency when downed, so you aren't just holding down a button and waiting for someone to come and save you. I really like the change of the passive more than anything here, because there's so many times people will be down and they don't even recover. So it's kind of good that that's there, because they're always going to be recovering and they're going to be ready to be picked up there, basically. So that's a really nice change. I like that. We're going to see obviously how the balance is in them being slugged for like 90 seconds. I feel like 90 seconds is more than enough time for the killer to go and find the last person if they want to try and get the 4K, the Mori, or something along those lines. So yeah, I think it should be a good change, but in theory, we'll have to test it out what it's like in the actual game. Tunneling reduction update. When a survivor is hooked, their hook status is hidden from the killer. When they are unhooked, there is no notification and their hook status isn't revealed immediately. This is disabled once all generators are completed, however. So they can tunnel at the end game collapse, obviously. But this is kind of weird. When they're unhooked, there is no notification and their hook status isn't revealed immediately. I mean, as a killer, you kind of know where you've hooked somebody in anyways. And I wonder if you're going to be able to see it on the icon still, on the left-hand side, the port rates and stuff, like if they have been unhooked or not. You could probably tell from there, right? So it might not be a big deal, but we'll see how that is. Anything to kind of stop the whole tunneling drama stuff, I guess, would be nice. Unhooked survivors gain the following effects for a limited time. They gain haste, endurance, and elusive. See below status effects. No collision with other players, both killer and survivor. Interesting. Immunity to killer instinct and see the killer's aura nearby. Jeez. That's quite a lot. These effects are lost when the affected survivor performs a conspicuous action. All these effects except haste and endurance are disabled once all generators are completed. You'll still get your haste and endurance when all generators are completed. However, you won't be able to see the killer's aura or be immune to killer instinct, etc. Added a unique effect to the killer hook state UI that indicates the last survivor they hooked. After completing a unique hook, the same survivor is not hooked consecutively. Killers will get the following benefits. Bonus damage for the next generator kick. Okay, so it's kind of rewarding killers from not going after the same survivor. They get a temporary haste status effect. Temporary reveals survivors. Think of it as a base kit barbecue and chili that have less or equal hook states to the hook survivor. Okay. These effects are slightly lessened for the Blight, the Dark Lord, the Ghoul, the Hillbilly, and the Nurse. It's basically traversal killers have these effects slightly reduced. I don't know. That's a bit strange, to be honest. Obviously, most of them will be running barbecue as well, but yeah, I mean, having it as base kit now, I suppose that's good. These effects are disabled once all generators are complete, however. Added new effects that disincentivize tunneling. Disincentivize. That's a weird word. If a survivor dies before 6 total hook states, all remaining survivors gain a repair speed bonus for the rest of the trial. Wow. Okay. That's interesting. I don't know how I feel about that, really, because even if you don't tunnel and you're going after somebody else, just for example, you're hitting one survivor, then you go after another one, and then you go after that survivor again, like the first one. You know, that's gonna be only really like 4 hooks and then 5 hooks when you get a kill. So, that means they will get a generator repair speed bonus, even if you're not tunneling, but you're just going after 2 survivors. You class that as tunneling? Not really. So, I think maybe they need to look at those 6 total hook states there. If the survivor that was last hooked is sacrificed or killed, generators cannot be regressed or blocked. Okay. Added the dead man switch nerf right there. Added the option to enable or disable these new mechanics in custom games. Updated several survivor and killer perks to account for these changes. It's no secret that tunneling can be seen as an efficient way to play for killers. While this can be true, it's also true that results of this can be frustrating for survivors, leading to trials ending too quickly for some, while leaving others to fend for themselves in a match that is now much more difficult. The intention is for both roles to feel the benefits and incentives that come from spreading hook states. On the one end, survivors have better opportunities to evade and reset after unhooks, while also limiting those tough situations where losing a survivor too quickly causes things to go south quickly and snowball. On the other hand, killers are able to apply more map pressure to push back against efficient teams, obviously having them the haste effect and stuff, covering ground post-hook and strengthening gen regression, because they get basically a sort of like not really a base kit pop goes the weasel, but obviously you're going to get a bit more generator regression when you do kick a gen. So overall, you know, I'm a survivor man. I'm going to obviously like these changes a little bit, but on the killer side of things, I can see how frustrating this is actually going to be, but I do like they're actually taking into account when they are removing tunneling that they are going to buff up the killers there. You know, they're going to get some benefits for actually going after different survivors as well. So I kind of like that, you know, getting the extra effects on board there, even if you decide not to tunnel them. The Elusive status effect added a new status effect that sounds, grunts of pain, and suppresses survivors' auras, pools of blood, and scratch marks. Okay, so it's a bit like an off the record as a status effect. To start, we'll be using this new status effect as part of a tunneling reduction update, but plan to integrate this into relevant existing perks down the road to make their descriptions more streamlined. Arguably, the easiest way to look at this is survivor version of undetectable, in that when it's active, you know you're in stealth mode. So yeah, it's literally just an off the record as a status effect, so it'd be interesting to see how they change that perk too. The Tomes lore update updated the Tomes menu to feature new Tomes accompanying lore alongside each chapter release. New lore is unlocked each week within the active Tome. Ever since we reworked the Tome, we've seen how much you've yearned for more lore. I've never yearned for more lore. We're happy to share that beginning with 9.2.0 lore is back. While previously lore was tied to challenges, we want all players to have the chance to immerse themselves in these stories, so we've shifted to a weekly unlock, not linked to any quest completion. Killer updates the shape. Oh, nice. So we get a look at the Maya's rework as well. So they've replaced Evil Within with 2 modes that can be toggled with a button. Okay. Stalker mode. I'm already excited to try this out. Stalker mode, 4.2 meters per second movement speed, undetectable, and can stalk survivors. I wonder what. Okay, we'll see what the stalk and survivors does. Pursuer mode, 4.6 meters movement speed. and 24-meter terror radius, increased vault speed, bonus to lunge range, break speed, and stun recovery. Cannot stalk survivors, however. I kind of like that. It's going to be a bit more engaging when you're in a chase. So you know, obviously you can start the chase, you can get potentially a free hit in stalker mode, and as soon as you go into pursuer mode, then you can start the chase there. So it's a lot more stealth orientated for Michael, which is I really like that. Once the stalk meter is full, evil incarnate mode can be triggered at will, granting the following effects for a limited time. Note survivors no longer become exposed, however, so no more one-shotting from Michael. Okay. 4.6 meters movement speed, 40 meter terror radius, and increased vault speed. Unlocks slaughter and strike ability. Hold the power button to charge this ability, reducing the movement speed. Press the attack button while charging to quickly lunge forward, adjusting your angle as you move. The length of the lunge depends on charge time. They're giving Michael base coup de grace. If a survivor enters the killer's attack range while lunging, they are knocked into the dying state. This ability can be used to destroy pallets as well. Unlocks the ability to grab and kill or perform a regular mori on survivors who would die the next time they are hooked. Adjusted some of the mechanics of stalk and removed the limited pool of stalk points per survivor. So you can like infinitely stalk a survivor now. Reduce stalk range to 32 meters and remove distance modifier. Moving while stalking has increased movement speed but incurs a reduced stalk rate. Reworked his add-ons as well. Holy hell, look at that. Look at that. Oh, that's sick. So Chucky has something similar to this, right? Where he kind of has that big lunge. It says they don't get exposed anymore, obviously, but I really like the look of this change for him and trying him out. So it says here, press the attack button while charging to quickly lunge forward, adjusting your angle as you move. The length of the lunge depends on the charge time. If a survivor enters the killer's attack range while lunging, they are knocked into the dying state. So they basically are kind of exposed, I'm getting from that, because they're going to get knocked down in the dying state. Because it doesn't say anything about being injured, obviously. So, maybe it depends on how much it's charged up to. We'll see. And I imagine the add-ons are going to be faster charging speed and stuff like that. This looks pretty cool, not gonna lie. However, I'm gonna miss some old Myers builds like Vanity Mirror and Scratch Mirror and stuff, because I feel like they might not come into effect here. By moving away from the linear evil within tiers, we wanted to give players more tools they can use to adapt each trial unique situations. This is going to be so cool using this with Fire Up and stuff like that, seeing how fast you can break pallets with Michael. Like, I really can't wait to try this out, honestly. Clown's getting a minor update. Increased activation time of the Afterpiece antidote. Increased how long the Afterpiece tonic hindered effects lingers after leaving the smoke as well. Okay. So they're making Clown a little bit slower, because it was his ace was a bit too OP, basically. You could kind of instigate that immediately. The Unknown. Increase the additional time added to weakened when injured by the UVX projectile. Increase movement speed, recovery after teleporting. Increase camera vertical range. Adjusted several add-ons as well. Okay, there you go. I don't really know anything about those changes, to be honest. I'm still a bit unfamiliar with the Unknown. The Dark Lord update. Slightly reduced Hellfire cooldown. Increase total Hellfire pillars by 1. So they've buffed his range up there. Reduce Hellfire's charge movement speed. Slightly increased slowdown time after casting Hellfire. Oh no. I mean, I guess he probably needed a little buff, but buffing his range like that, I don't know. It's gonna maybe lead into a lot of M2 faking like you see with Pyramid Head. I'd prefer if they maybe kept it the same, or yeah, it's pretty easy to dodge though, to be fair. So we'll see how that plays out. Wolf form, increased pounce attack charge time, increased scent orb spawn time. So I'm guessing they've nerfed his wolf form a little bit by buffing up his range. To be honest, I preferred his wolf form. Just dealing with that is probably better than him becoming like an M2 faking character with him having increased slowdown time and stuff like that. Bat form, increased movement friction to make flying easier to control. The Ghoul, when grabbing a survivor on the other side of a vault with Kanguin Leap. I don't know how to pronounce that. The survivor is released at the start of the ghoul's vault instead of at the end. Okay, that's just a little change to the ghoul. I was expecting a little bit more, to be honest. The Oni has a minor update. Hookner Survivor now spawns more blood orbs. Perk updates. Updated various perks. Obviously, they're going to go in more detail with that during the PTB when we get those balance notes. Alright, and I think with the PTB, we're also going to be getting the new killer and the new survivor, right? I don't see anything on the dev notes about that just yet. Apparently, we could maybe be getting the trailer dropping today as well, so something to look forward to on top of that. But yeah, I'm kind of excited to have a go of all these new features and seeing how the perks that are affected, like Off the Record, like Unbreakable, Tenacity, how all those are going to change. I'm intrigued to see how they're going to work. I like the new status effect as well. I think that's kind of nice, just to kind of counter the tunneling aspect of the game too, because it can be very frustrating, especially as a new player, if you're just getting tunneled out of the game, and now you're actually going to have ways of, it's going to really hinder the killer's chances of winning the game if he does go after the same survivor. So, and that's also going to buff the survivors up and getting faster gen repair speeds and things. So overall, I think it's going to be a solid update. I'm really excited to try out the Myers changes as well and seeing how they're going to adjust the add-ons and stuff. Obviously, we're not going to, looks like we may not be able to do, scratch mirror builds and stuff anymore, but having that as sort of a base kit, maybe we'll have add-ons to see auras through walls and stuff as well on top of that. We'll see. We'll see what they do with that, but I'm excited to test this out, honestly, and I will be streaming this PTB on Tuesday. I believe it is Tuesday. They haven't said, they just said next week, but it's usually a Tuesday at like 4 PM UK time or whatever. So if you are looking forward to checking this out, hit that sub button. I will be streaming it, and you can check it out with me on stream. And thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments that you want to say about this developer update, feel free to leave them down below. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. I've been Pixels, my awesome viewers. I'll catch you guys in the next one.